Welcome back to my podcast. We're on episode 63. Today we'll talk about my first and second crush. With puberty came crushes. In spite of this, I was totally clueless about what actually happened between men and women in romantic scenarios. Around the time I was in 7th standard, around 12 years old, the school screened a film by a sanitary pad manufacturer about puberty and periods. At the end of the video, we were each handed a little booklet. I read the booklet that was mainly a branding exercise, and it talked about generic stuff, including how we could pay attention to our hygiene and overall presentation. Among the suggestions that were meant to improve the self confidence of girls were suggestions to comb our hair and apply perfume, just generally look more presentable, be conscious of how we looked. I really liked these ideas and took them seriously, and accordingly started running the comb through my hair and applying perfume in the evenings when I got home from school every day. This got my mother very alarmed, and in a threatening tone, she asked me why I was combing my hair and applying perfume all of a sudden. Intimidated, I stopped doing it. A few months later, Dad's team went on an overnight picnic to Lonavala along with the families, so I was there too. At this time, Dad was managing the transport team for Godrej Soaps. This team was in charge of all company vehicles. This was the first time I saw Dennis Chapman. I had never seen such a good looking person ever before. Blonde with blue green eyes, Dennis looked absolutely gorgeous. Dennis's dad had been my dad's boss and had passed away tragically in an accident. The company hired Dennis as a way of helping, but since he had no qualifications, he was hired as a driver. On this day of the picnic, I sat on the seat near the driver's seat and kept staring at Dennis. I could not believe that such a good looking person could exist. Too naive to figure out that people know when you're staring at them, I kept looking at him, feeling an inexplicable joy just being in the vicinity of this god-like, gorgeous man. Dennis was the epitome of male beauty, an outright drop-dead gorgeous man with green-blue eyes and blonde hair. I wanted to keep looking at Dennis at all times. I couldn't get enough of looking at him. I resorted to going to Dennis's building every evening and played with the kids from that building. Dennis and his wife sat in their balcony every evening, and it was not hard for them to spot a simping girl. I, completely clueless about this, kept getting creative about looking at Dennis. All I wanted to do was look at this gorgeous man. If I opened the window of my room wide enough, I could see Dennis and his wife sitting in their balcony. So I would sit at my window and stare at my crush. Dennis and his wife soon started getting up and walking into their house as soon as I happened to be at my window or around their building. So they knew. They could see me just having a crush on Dennis and trying to be around him. And the poor things, they used to sit in the balcony in the evenings, but they would just get up and go back inside when they saw me. When I realized that they had understood what I was up to, I felt very embarrassed. Nonetheless, Dennis remains my first crush and is till date the best looking person I have ever seen. I seem to have an affinity for Anglo-Saxon features because my next crush, my dentist, also had green eyes, just like Dennis. While Dennis had British parents, my dentist was a Cobra, a Kokanasta Brahmin. This time things went beyond looking. I was completely unacquainted with the concept of sexual arousal. I did not know what was sex or what was arousal. As my dentist looked at my teeth, I looked deep into my dentist's lovely eyes. The more I looked at him, the harder I fell for him. It was clear as day I was smitten, and the dentist looked sympathetic to my plight. I, on the other hand, did not know that my face was giving away everything. I was just basking in the joy of looking at this tall, handsome man. The dentist taught me how to brush my teeth properly, taking the toothbrush to the gums and then brushing in upward and downward strokes. I don't even know how, but through the toothbrush, I felt pleasure, sexual pleasure. But of course, I did not know that. I did not know what it was that I was feeling. This was the first time I was feeling this way. And I thought right brushing makes person feel like this. Like this is a sign that you're brushing correctly. Unbeknownst to me, my facial expression of sexual ecstasy was all too plain for everyone to see. Cringe, cringe. So I went home and tried to brush just like the doctor had taught me. As though I had not embarrassed myself enough, I went back to the doctor and reported that when I brushed my teeth, it did not feel the same. The doctor asked me to show him. As I showed him how I brushed, he said that was the correct way. But I pressed on. No, doctor, it does not feel the same. When the doctor took the toothbrush and touched my gums with it again, waves of pleasure went through my gums, into my entire body. I was ecstatic. But I thought this was just the way correct brushing should feel like. So then I did the brushing and I told the doctor, see, it is not the same. I don't feel the same. The dentist looked at me very kindly and said, go ahead and brush this way. It is fine. It was a few years before I realized that my arousal had been all too clearly writ all over my face and that the doctor could see the effect his touch was having on me. Later, when I went to the dentist with other problems, he was dismissive because he simply assumed I was there visiting him just to see my crush. I don't even know if kids nowadays call them crushes or something else, but back in the 80s or 90s, we all spoke about our little crushes when we liked someone. After this, I had crushes on a few different people, but my favorite is Anand Mahindra. I still think he's a very handsome man and I still have a crush on him. Next time, I'll tell you about my attempts to get a boyfriend. Till then, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye for now.